This is Joshua and his little brother Peter. Josh is 9, Peter is 7. Josh and Pete love playing with toy car tracks. Josh likes to make difficult loops and jumps, and Pete loves running his cars through the track pretending that he's the driver. And they both, of course, love to crash their cars. But there are some things about their toy car tracks that aren't very fun. Most of their track sets don't connect to one another, and a lot of the obstacles do less than it seemed like they would in the commercial. Some of their toy tracks even come with an augmented reality app for their parents' tablets, but it doesn't really do much besides animate some of the obstacles, and they don't help or hurt the car like they do in the commercials. They've used the app once or twice, and then they stopped. They get tired of most of their tracks pretty quickly. One day, Josh and Pete are at the toy store, picking out one present for Josh's birthday, which is a family tradition. They see a set of toy car tracks that all work with all of the other sets. Much like the ones they have at home, they see that the kits can be as large as a starter set or as small as just one obstacle. They see a display stand with a car and a flying saucer obstacle. The flying saucer does something on its own. When you run the car on the track underneath it, it will sometimes pick it up with a magnet. But they also notice an iPad at the stand that shows the same flying saucer flying around inside of the same real-life table, picking up a digital car that looks like a toy one up and flying away with it. This is different from the other AR track toys they have, because the obstacle is actually a toy and not just a digital on-screen obstacle, and the car on the table being beamed away by the saucer is digital. It looks more fun because usually nothing really happens to the cars when they hold their iPad up to it. All of the boxes say Crash Test Builder. Josh decides to pick a prehistoric Crash Test Builder starter kit for his birthday, and at first the fun of building is just like other track toys they already have at home. There's a T-Rex whose tail will sometimes speed up cars by slingshotting them forward like a pinball machine. There are also ramps and track pieces with arrows on them that otherwise seem normal. There's a pterodactyl whose stem will sometimes swoop down with a magnet mechanism and pick up a car. There's a volcano that sometimes will trap cars that pass through it, and smaller geysers that will sometimes trip and knock cars off the track. They have fun looking at all the obstacles and setting up the track like they always do, and then they run the cars across it and try to crash into one another. Then, Josh borrows his parents' tablets and takes a picture of the track. He also places the kit's cars in a special garage. Digital versions of the physical cars that came with the set appear inside the app. Both boys pick their favorite car, and they can see the digital versions drive out of the garage they just placed the real ones into. The whole thing is taking place with digital cars now, but the background track is still their own living room. The digital cars take their place on the track, and the boys play a two-person game where Josh is racing around the track, and Peter has control over all the obstacles, which have now come to life in unexpected ways. For example, the T-Rex grabs his car and throws it further down the track. It keeps its bite marks until the end of the race. The volcano erupts, slowly blocking off different parts of the track and setting the cars on fire. On the second lap, Pete taps the pterodactyl and finds that he can control where it swoops, trying to grab Josh's car. Both boys can also race cars at the same time. They notice that anytime they're controlling a car in a game, they can choose whether to see the track in their own living room or switch to driver mode and see the track from the driver's seat inside of a racing stadium. Both modes have a boost that will speed up the car but also potentially knock it off the track. After playing a few games, the boys see they can use the game points to customize their digital cars with different attributes like speed, boost, grip, and gun. Josh chooses a speed boost for his car. The boys return to the actual track to set up a ramp to try and jump the volcano. It doesn't go well for the physical car, but Josh has an idea. He remembers the speed boost. The boys fire up the tablet and go to obstacle course mode. They see that the game is giving them a suggestion for a track piece that will help the digital car make the jump. They try the speed boost with the suggestion and make it over the volcano. The game rewards them with points. They back the volcano up and make the jump a second time after a few times getting the speed boost just right, and the game awards them with even more points. And when they get tired of that, they go to crash test mode and ramp the digital car over into the volcano, and the game awards them even more points. Later that week, the boys visit friends who have the Space Starter Kit, and they're thrilled to find that their tracks will work with one another. They create an epic track with futuristic alien laser monsters and flying saucers and pterodactyls doing damage to cars being sped up by T-Rexes and warp drive tunnels. The boys even borrow a warp drive tunnel in two pieces to take home, and are excited to find that it sends digital cars warping to wherever the exit tunnel is, even if it's across the room. They save the setup to play with later. That night, Josh and Pete fall asleep talking about all the ways to attach ramps and rings of fire to the living room recliner. They agree that this is one toy they're not going to get sick of for a while.